Hey everyone, welcome back. Brandon and Ethan here again to discuss everything going on in the Cubs world post-winter meetings. Obviously, the last few days have been relatively quiet in the Cubs world. A lot of rumors, a lot of stories flying around, no big transactions. And so obviously just here to sort of get your thoughts, Ethan, on everything that's been going down the last week or so.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Like we talked about a week and a half ago, there wasn't any like rumblings of like it's going to be a big thing. Again, Juan Soto wasn't going to go to the Cubs. It's unfortunate. I am excited to see now that the winter meetings are over. I mean, we've got some small new players on the team. Um, the winter meetings are the winter meetings, and nothing happened. So I don't want to say nothing happened, but we've got some new players on our roster, and I'm again, as I'll say always, the 2025 season is just around the corner, and I think all we could do now is kind of tailor our team to the best it can be.
Yeah. The Cubs under Jed Hoyer have always been pretty patient with their moves. Obviously, they signed Matthew Boyd a a week or two ago. They traded for Eli Morgan. They took Gage Workman in the Rule 5 draft. So again, like you said, they've done things, and it's smart moves at the margins. They're making the right sort of plays, but they're making the moves that a really competitive roster needs, and the Cubs are not a really competitive roster yet. I mean, they're close. I mean, they've been close to the playoffs the last 2 years. Obviously, I think everyone's just sort of waiting for that other shoe to drop and that big move to come. Obviously, there was a lot of rumors last week that they were maybe close to landing Garrett Crochet, who obviously ended up going to the White Sox. There's rumors right now flying around that maybe they're going to trade for Kyle Tucker, which we'll talk about in a minute. So they're certainly being active. They're certainly exploring their options. I just think that it's understandable if a lot of the Cubs fan base is growing really impatient.
And again, it's something that we spoke again, I want to talk about last week is that the Cubs have money. They're just very frugal with their money. So it's not like they wanted to be the big spenders here. Again, the Mets making history on one of the biggest contracts of all time, beating the Shohei Ohtani contract. Again, we're not surprised at anything. Again, I'm glad we have a new third baseman on the roster, but again, I'm not surprised by any of this.
Yeah, I've seen them pick Workman in the Rule 5 draft was nice. Again, we'll talk about sort of the implications of that in our next video. But I think that it's really a case of this has been a pretty active offseason already. Relative to the last few. A lot of the top players are already off the board. Max Fried's with the Yankees, Blake Snell's with the Dodgers, Soto's with the Mets. Crochet's on the Red Sox. Corbin Burns sounds like he's probably going to go to the Giants or the Red Sox. There's a lot of the big name. Willie Adames is on the Giants. There's a lot of the big name guys that are already off the board, and that's not to say the Cubs should feel pressured to hand out this albatross of a contract. It's just to say that you only have such a window to improve your team substantially going into next season, and now that a lot of the options are off the board, it's really sort of a situation where like there's only a couple players left that can really fundamentally change the 2025 season for the Cubs. And if they don't, the window is going to close soon.
I think it's also again completely speculative, but there's been whispers of Cody Bellinger possibly going to the Yankees. Again, it's complete whispers, but I think there's some of the question of if that does happen, where does restructuring come in? Because again, he is one of our biggest power hitting threats. I would be remiss to say, we had a restructuring not too many years ago, and maybe all these players leaving for other teams. Maybe it's a good thing that a new restructuring would happen if, say, Bellinger left. But again, this is all speculative. We can't say what is happening. What is happening? My favorite phrase of this website: "Only time will tell."